if there was one thing that I could change, if I could go back in time, because I've been no contact with my narcissistic family now for 2 years. If there's one thing I could change, that would be not to take the bait. So often, like my nickname in that Catholic elementary school, the first one I attended for sixth and seventh grade, was Grizzly, because I had a Grizzly Adams lunch pail. And I love that show. I've always loved Mother Nature and Jeremiah Johnson. I used to love the idea of just going up there and just living off your wits, and your rifle and your knife. And that lunch pail was displayed prominently. One of the many, many things that my sister-in-law stole from my childhood bedroom. It was also my brother's bedroom, her husband. So she would go up there, and my mom would let her, and she would just steal my things. I had thousands of dollars worth in this Hot Wheel collection I had. I had a bunch of old Redline Hot Wheels. And they took all the Hot Wheels and they wouldn't give them back to me, even though I asked for them. They said, well, that's another story. But yeah, just all of my childhood stuff was stolen from me and they wouldn't give anything back. Anyways, that's the kind of things narcissists do, right? That was baiting me, baiting me to hurt, baiting me to feel frustrated, baiting me to beg for my items back. But, a lot of times it's just being baited into arguments. And, I would allow myself to be baited into them because in my mind, it's like she's saying this just to get me frustrated. And I never try to frustrate anyone. So I find it so disgusting that someone just every time I'm around them is picking at me and trying to get me frustrated, and so in my mind I'd kind of be like, oh, they really want me to be frustrated? Okay, I'll be frustrated. Why do you always got to say that? And I'd end up getting into an argument when it's so much better just to realize they want me to be argumentative. They want me to take the bait, and then they'll feel powerful, because I fell into the trap. And so let's just observe. Let's detach, and even if I feel some emotions bubbling up inside of me, it's like, wait a second, I'm not going to be entrapped. This is entrapment. So she can say whatever she wants, but I don't have to engage. So that's the one thing, if I could go back in time and change, that's what I would do. Because I had just finished, I took Shakespeare in junior college, got an A. I took Shakespeare in England, got an A. Took Shakespeare at Loyola Marymount University College, got an A. The one in England, through the junior college where I did a semester, was, we would literally see the play, we would read the play, then we would go see the Royal Shakespearean Company perform it on a Saturday, and then on Monday, an Oxford professor would show up and break the play down, fully analyze it in detail. And so when I got back from that trip, it was, she was around a lot, and she was a theater person. She loved acting in plays, and so she also thought she was knowledgeable on Shakespeare. But I mean, I literally, in England for 5.5 months, I literally ate, slept, dreamed and studied Shakespeare. And so a lot of times I would bring him up and I would say, that reminds me a lot of The Tempest. Or, I see the similarity with The Merchant of Venice in this way, And if I ever mentioned Shakespeare, she'd always respond the same way. This is her. Well, actually, if you had analyzed this a little bit more appropriately, you would see that you're wrong. That asinine. And I would just kind of be like, how so? Already frustrated. She'd be like, well, you said that was from The Merchant of Venice, but actually you were referring to something from King Henry Part 2, because only King Henry Part had Falstaff and Merchant of Venice didn't have Falstaff, and she would just be like, trying to just confuse me, and she would just spit out whatever. And then when I would try to go to respond, they would all of a sudden, it'd be at family parties usually. Oh, everyone into the living room. We got something to see in the living room, and they would just squash me. So she could say whatever she wanted to say, just spew nonsense. And then when I was ready to put her in her place with facts, it would be interrupted always. But if I could change one thing, it would be not to take the bait. It's so obvious. Like some things, like I shared with a narcissistic family member that just when I hear someone say, God, the D word, it, God, D, it, people say that a lot. It just literally almost makes me feel nauseous. It's so repugnant. And I can't stand to see that. Even people that just say, like Joe Rogan all the time, his favorite cuss word is the word Jesus, and it just infuriates me. If I see that once or twice, I got to change the channel. But I shared this with a narcissistic family member. What did they start doing? All the time, even in text messages, would say, God, D it, and would just start saying that regularly, just trying to bait me, trying to get under my skin. And when it's a real family member that you really love, it's so hurtful, that they're going so far out of their way just to stir the pot, just to try to get that blood inside of you to boil. Anyways, hit like or dislike, leave a comment, subscribe to this video. I'll talk to you later.